Hello, welcome to video number 12, working with dates and time. In this video, we're going to learn how to work with dates in Pandas, and we're going to use a Nami very ledger made up. Let's look at it. This is completely made up. Dates are fictional, 2023. But anyways, it's an expenses, income, expense, and with dates. So we can work on answering questions like how much did she spend on certain month, or how much were her expenses per month. Okay, so let's get started. Let's bring in our finances.csv, and then let's print our data frame. And here we go. We have a date column, description, and a category. Sometimes it's an income, sometimes an expense, sometimes a loss. A little description. So let's start by doing this. DFD types. And as you can see, the column date says object. This means Pandas reads this column as plain text, just like this one and this one. It does not know it is a date. So then let's start by addressing that. So this is where a function called toDateTime comes in. So this is the very first thing we do when we have a column that's a date. We do this toDateTime. So Pandas toDateTime function takes in the argument df, the column we want to convert. Let's run this. And here we go. This returns the series, the same column, but now this is data type datetime 64. So now this column, each value inside is a special datetime object. So this, we need to reassign it to the same column. So we need to df the column date is equal to what this returns, which is this. So let me rerun this. So now let's copy this. Oops. Let me copy this command on the bottom. And now we can see the date column has date time objects stored in each row. And once it's a date, we can do stuff like, let me do an example. Let's filter our data frame where the column data frame date is, let's say, greater than 2023 301. And now, because now this is a date, we can evaluate when some dates are after this or before this. You see it in the greater or less than. So return our data frame filtered only where the date is after this date. And now that we have this real datetime column, we can pull individual pieces out by using the .dt accessor. Let me do an example. Date. And then we can do this .dt, like when we did the dot stir, but now since it's a datetime, we do dt and then a lot of functions that come built in, like month, name, for example. And this, let's see what it returns. So returns the month name of each row with a date like this. We can say, let me dt day name, Tuesday, Sunday. So we can even get the day of the week. We are just displaying this. So let's change our data frame, adding columns like this, df, and then month name, and then is equal. Maybe it was easier to type it, right? And the name is equal to what's in this column, but the name. And then let's use this one, copy, and then let's month num, and then we do dt month. So we need to show it. So now we have a month name, day name, and a month number. This is not a function. The month, it's an attribute. That's why this one did not need parentheses. But we only know this by looking, Googling for it, right? Why might we need only the month number? So this is just to sort it by month instead of by, because by name, if we sort it by name, it sorts alphabetically, not by the calendar. Okay, so now let's start with the answering questions like how much did Nami spend per month? So here's where our famous group by. Group by month name, and on the column amount we want the sum. And here we go. Let's just, to see how it looks, print. There we go, a nice little series. This is not a table, it's a series. But notice how it sorts them alphabetically. So this is why we added this month num. So we can group by this little number. So let's add here and then month num, comma, month name. So we are going to group by both of them. Let's see what this outputs. And here we go. Now let's dot reset index. So it does not use the month num as the index. So let's do another example. Now let's see what category. Let's group by category. Group by category. And let's again, I like it better how it looks when I print it. And this is the data series, not a table. It's only one, but the category is our index. So I wonder dot reset index. And now this is a data frame with two columns, category and amount, and an index column. Let's do another example. Let me just first print our data frame. And I think they are in order. But for the next example, let me make sure it's in order. So let's reassign our data frame to what? df sort values date, and then let's reset the index. And drop equals true. And here we go. We made sure now our data frame is sorted, because for the next example we want a running balance, a cumulative balance. So let's do that one code. So df of running balance is equal to df amount dot, and this is a new one, cumulative sum. So we are adding this column to our data frame. Let's look at it. And here's our running balance. We start with the first 5,000, then we subtract 1,200, then we add 800, then we add. So this is like the column says, a running balance. And since we are in these time date examples, let's look at another useful view that Pandas has built in, especially for example, if we want to see week by week, it's resample. So this dot resample needs the date to be the index. So let's do that first. So let's make another data frame by date is equal to our data frame, and we set the index to be the column date. Let's look at it. So the date column becomes our index, and this is necessary for the resample, for the built-in method resample. So let's do another example of this method. Weekly net is equal to our df by data frame amount dot resample, and then takes in this as a parameter, and then we sum on the amount. And let's show this data frame. Weekly net. Let's print it because I like how it looks better when it's printed. Print. And here it is. From the week that starts at 08, this is the amount. The week that starts at January 15, this is the sum of the amount, etc. So these are our weekly summary of the sum of the amount column. So this is one row per week, right? And we can use this resample now on a monthly. Was this? Yes. Monthly net is equal to the f by that amount by changing this string. Now for the monthly, we use this string ME. And here we go. Monthly summary of the amounts. So these are some of the things we can do with the date time object. So there's a whole bunch more, but that's it for this video. Anyways, thanks a lot for watching. See you on the next one.